Anemone turned 16 with the sunrise. It was a tradition among the merfolk of the coral court. On your 16th birthday, the oldest sea turtle in the kingdom, a venerable creature named Kaelen, whose shell was a map of forgotten currents, would bring you your gift. It was never something you could hold, but something you could keep forever. Anemone, named for the delicate, stinging flowers that adorned her mother's crown, waited by the dancing spires, a forest of crystal that chimed softly with the ocean's pulse. Her tail, the color of abalone shell, flicked with impatient excitement. What would it be? Her sister had been given the song of the humpback, a melody that could calm the roughest seas. Her best friend had received the secret of the electric eel, a tiny spark of lightning he could summon to light the dark depths. Kaelen arrived not with a rush, but with a slow, inevitable grace, his flippers moving like wise old wings. "Little Sting," he rumbled, his voice like stones grinding deep within the earth. "Happy birthday. What is my gift?" Anemone blurted out, her voice a cascade of bubbles. Kaelen's ancient eyes, darker and deeper than any trench, regarded her. "For you, Anemone, I bring the path to the surface." Anemone's heart sank. The surface? It was a place of stories, of warnings. A place of the dry ones, with their sharp, metal claws and noisy, floating islands that scarred the water. It was a place of danger, not a gift. "The surface?" she repeated, unable to hide her disappointment. "But why?" "Because the greatest gifts are not always the ones we want," Kaelen said, "but they are always the ones we need. You have a curious heart, Little Sting. It flickers in your eyes when you watch the sun-dappled water above. Today, you may sate that curiosity, but you must return by moonrise." With a slow blink, a knowledge settled into Anemone's mind, a safe cove, hidden from the paths of the dry ones, and a strange, tingling sensation that was the secret of breathing the thin, dry air. Hesitantly, she pushed off from the sand. She swam upwards, leaving the familiar symphony of the deep, the clicking of shrimp, the low songs of the whales behind. The water grew warmer, the light brighter, until with a final, powerful kick of her tail, she broke through. The world exploded. The first breath was a shock, sharp and clean, filling her lungs in a way water never could. The air smelled of salt and something else, something wild and sweet she couldn't name. The sky was not a distant, shimmering ceiling but an endless, breathtaking dome of liquid blue and brilliant white. The sun was not a softened glow but a fierce, golden coin that warmed her skin. And the sounds! The cawing of gulls was a raucous, joyful noise compared to the gentle hum of the deep. The wind whispered secrets through the leaves of the trees that grew right up to the edge of the hidden cove. It was terrifying. It was magnificent. She stayed there for hours, bobbing in the gentle swell, watching fluffy clouds rearrange themselves. She saw a bird, a tiny brown sparrow, dip down and skim the water, a feat of impossible lightness. She felt the texture of rain when a small, passing cloud wept a few warm drops. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in colors she had no names for, orange, violet, rose, a profound loneliness settled over her. This world was beautiful, but it was not hers. She was a spectator in a realm of flight and wind. Just as she was about to dive back, a movement on the cliff caught her eye. A young human no older than her was sitting on a rock, sketching in a book. He wasn't a monster from a warning tale. He was just a boy. He looked up, and his eyes met hers across the water. There was no fear in his gaze, only a wide, wondrous shock. He didn't reach for a weapon or cry out. He simply smiled, a small, genuine curve of his lips, and held up his sketchbook. On the page was a rough, but unmistakable, drawing of her, her curious face, her hair floating around her like seaweed, the iridescent shimmer of her tail. In that moment, Anemone understood Kaelen's gift. It wasn't just the path to the surface. It was the gift of perspective. It was the knowledge that her world was just one part of a vast, interconnected whole. That beauty existed in the stark, dry air as much as in the crushing deep. That curiosity was a bridge, not a danger. She smiled back, a shy, bubbling feeling rising in her chest. Then, as the moon began to silver the water, she gave a final, graceful flick of her tail and dove, When she returned to the dancing spires, the merfolk were celebrating, their bioluminescent scales creating a swirling galaxy of light. Her mother swam to her, concern in her eyes. "Well, what was your gift?" Anemone looked around at her world, the familiar coral, the glowing jellyfish, the chattering fish. It was all the same, but she was different. "It was the sky," Anemone said softly, her voice full of a new, deep wonder. "Kaelen gave me the sky." And as she joined the dance, the memory of the human boy's smile and the feel of the sun on her skin were treasures she knew she would carry in her heart forever. It was, without a doubt, the best birthday she had ever had. The end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.